It's Real Deal Outdoors. Today we're going to talk about ice fishing for big monster pike and everything I do to get set up for the season. I know it's September, it's a little bit early, but I just can't wait. And this is about the time that I start rigging up all my stuff and getting it ready for the season. So before you even get in the water, the first thing you need to do is get your rigs that you're going to use for your bait. And so I like to use a 45-pound titanium, not too kinky line. I got these 4-aught Gamakatsu barbless hooks, crimps, obviously the correct size to go with that line. I tie up probably 10 of these every year. I like to make them about 18 inches long. And I got them all tied up on here. So usually I'll just take one off and I'll copy it. So they're all the same length. So on one side, you're gonna have your eye, and then 18 inches down the road, you're gonna have your single barbless hook. So just cut it, feed your one end through the barrel, and then grab your tag end and back through the other way. So just like that. Crimp it with my crappy crimpers. Like that. Then on my other end, I'm gonna get one of my Gamakatsu hooks ready to go. It's a 4-aught barbless once again. And same thing, gonna need another barrel. Slide it on one end, and then goes the hook, and then back through the barrel. And then you can adjust your length before you crimp it. Just a little loop on there so it can move. You cut off your tag end. And once again crimp it. And that's all I use. That's the rig right there. And from there you're gonna hook that onto your tip-up line. And this is gonna get threaded into the fish. And now I'm gonna talk about how we wanna thread this together. You need to get a threader, and here I have one right here, and these are super easy to make. And all it is the bottom of the coat hanger, and you cut it, you sharpen one end, and on this side over here you're gonna see that it's notched and it's flat, and so I'll flatten out with the hammer first, and then inside the vise I'll get just your regular hacksaw, and I'm gonna cut on a 45-degree angle downwards, just like that, if you can see that there. So I'm gonna cut it down, and then I'm gonna smooth it out and try to make it as low profile as possible, because you're gonna be sticking this right through your bait. And I like to use herring, but I'm gonna demonstrate on just a little smelt here just for fun. And what you're gonna do with that is you're gonna take that loop on the other side and you're gonna hook it on there just like that. And now you can just thread right through the bait. And we'll demonstrate that here a little bit closer. It's not exactly the time of year to be stuffing herring in my freezer yet, so I'll use some of this smelt just to demonstrate, because I got this in the freezer right now. But the way I rig my bait is right behind the forehead, or sometimes right through the forehead. I'll insert the threader, and then just under the skin I'm going to run it all the way to the back of the fish, just like so. And now this is where I'm going to get my leader, and I'm going to hook it right in here. And this might not work on this smelt, but it looks like it's gonna go, it's gonna get a little mangled. But just on the surface, just like that, I'm gonna pull it all the way back, and I'm finished, just like that. I can pull it all the way through, and now I'm gonna bury this hook in the top, facing backwards, just like so. And that is it. That's how I rig my herring. No different than that. and I throw it down the hole and I lay it flat on bottom. And this end obviously is going to go to my tip up line. Now, for some of those that like to hang their bait, since I put it just underneath the surface, I can pull this wire gently up through the back until you can get that perfect hanging motion. But just because of this bait is so short, I don't know if I'm going to get it to hang properly. But you can just pull it up like that, and there you go. Now you got the perfect hanging bait with your herring, just like so. And opening up the back lets some of the scent out as well. But that's basically all you need to do. Well, number one with the bait, I always rig up as many as possible, probably 8 herring every night beforehand, and you want to thaw them out because frozen bait does not sink. So you need to thaw it out so it'll sink to the bottom, and that's where you lay your bait. So when we move over to our tip ups, the first tip I'm going to give you about tip ups is I like the round ones, and because they cover the hole, but most of them, as you see, will only cover an 8-inch hole before they just start rocking on there and almost falling in. So what I got on the outside here is a lid off of a pail, and these HT tip ups fit right inside the inner lip, and I just screw them on there with a couple screws, just a couple wood screws right through the top or through the side, and then I'll cut a hole for the spool to sit right inside, just like that. And now you have a nice big lid that covers the hole. It doesn't tip, it sits perfectly flat. And on top of that, you can go one step further and get yourself a little foamy and cut a little hole in the center and notch it, just like so, and slide it right through, and now it can sit and insulate the hole so it doesn't freeze on those really cold days. Another important thing about the spool is your line and how tight you spool it on there. It's gotta be tight. If it's loose and the fish is pulling really fast, it'll actually backlash just like it does on a bait caster. And I've had them loop onto the handle like so, and the fish is running, and then it gets jammed, and then they can't get anywhere, and then they spit the hook, and it's over. So that's very important, and that's why I'll have probably 6 to 10 of these with me at all times, depending on how many guys I'm fishing with. And I got them after I'm done using one, like either I caught a fish or I lost one or whatever. I will unspool them completely, and I'll have them hang from the ceiling of the tent so they can thaw out and get all the ice off the line. If you just spool them up with all the ice and snow on there, and they go on, and you put them back in the hole, they'll freeze and then they'll stick, and when the fish grabs it, they're gonna feel that resistance and they will drop your bait. Most of them will pick it up broadside and they'll just swim off with it, and they'll just keep on swimming and swimming and swimming. And then they'll drop it or stop and turn the bait in their mouth head first and then swallow it. So while they're running with it and they think they got away with murder, this spool needs to spin freely. And that's why I have a lot of tip ups with me at all times, and make sure that they're wrapped up nice and neatly and tightly. With the line, this line's probably 30-pound test, 40-pound Dacron. Just your black, thick hand line, nothing too crazy. And then on the other end, I'm gonna have like a 40 or 60-pound snap on there to put the wire leader on. That's the end of episode 1 for Pike Secrets with the Real Deal Outdoors. Tune in, subscribe, like, leave a comment or question. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll be coming out with some more tips and secrets on finding fish and other things that I do out in the water as we progress through the season. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh! Let it go, let it go, let it go! Oh, wow! Oh, wow! Grab him by the tail.
Sorry!
Grab him by the tail.